Hi there guys, welcome to my seminar on the analysis of the straight leg running drill. So generally speaking, this drill is used in part of a warm-up or potentially may be used as part of a main running session. Now, if you look at the drill, there's many aspects that are being targeted both from a skills and a capacities basis. So I'll break this down, firstly going through skills and then capacities. The first thing I notice is the similarity between this drill and certain aspects of maximum speed running. So within the running drill, I feel it's very similar to the maximum speed stance phase, where the ankle and the knee are providing stiffness and the hip is going through a larger range of motion, providing the power to propel the lower limb. There's also quite a high degree of emphasis on the pullback technique, as well as things such as posture, body, and certainly rotational control of the body, and coordination between right and left side of the body. There's also a number of capacities being targeted, for instance, the ability of the hamstring to work isometrically, as well as mobility of the hip, as it's going through quite a large range of flexion and extension. And certainly the stretch shortening cycle is being targeted with the active plantar flexion and recovery of the foot. Lastly, core stability is also being targeted as the core musculature is working isometrically to prevent unwanted motion of the torso and controlling rotational forces. So now we have an understanding of what we are trying to achieve with the drill. Now going to be discussing the technical model for the straight leg running drill. Now I do think this can differ depending on whether we are training a skill or capacity, as I've listed in this slide here. I've assumed that a coach is looking to target purely pullback or purely core stability, which I know is very unlikely, as skills and capacities are interlocking. One does depend on the other, as well as it being unlikely that a coach will use this drill to target pure core stability. However, just for ease of explanation, I've decided to use these two examples. For the rest of this discussion, I'll be looking at pullback, and rather than going through the whole technical model, I will go through those elements which I feel are most important, or the almost the determinants to the skill of pullback. And in my opinion, these are mainly to do with the interaction of the foot with the floor, which are listed as the bottom three on the list here. So the first determinant I'm going to discuss is the touchdown distance, so the perpendicular difference between the toe and the centre of mass. Essentially, if this distance is too large, you're going to be slowing down as there's more braking forces being applied. And you won't really be able to perform a pullback, as essentially you'll just be on your toes the whole time. So therefore, part of our technical model for the skill of pullback will be that the touchdown distance will be minimized and the foot contact will be either just under the center of mass or slightly in front. The second thing is going to be the timing of plantar flexion as it reaches the floor. Essentially, if this is too early, then again the foot will produce more braking forces, and if it's too late, you'll miss the opportunity to pull back. Lastly, the foot needs to be recovered or in a dorsiflex position prior to contact on the floor. Now, the reason this is that it allows us to put the foot in a position so that it's able to actively plantar flex as it contacts the floor. If it remains in a plantar flex position when it's being recovered, then we won't be able to pull back due to the toes pointing towards the floor. So now we have a technical model. It may be interesting to look at some of the variations or changes we can make within the drill that will target different physiological outcomes. As an example, the amount of hip flexion and extension that is achieved can change characteristics of the drill, such as the amount of flight time and ground contact time an athlete is achieving. So for instance, a coach could use the drill on the left or the technique on the left for an athlete who does have mastery of the drill, but is looking to maximize force output while minimizing contact time. And the drill on the right could be used to target those athletes who may not have mastery of the drill or are new to the skill, or are looking to target more ankle stiffness type qualities, where there's a higher cadence. We could even change the drill further, while rather than changing the technique the athlete is performing the drill with, we could change the environment. So for example, ask the athlete to perform the drill with no shoes, or ask the athlete to perform the drill on sand. And this is going to change the adaptation sort again. As for instance, there is no solid surface for the athlete to push against, so the technical model, metabolic demands, and force velocity characteristics will all be different, resulting in a different adaptation.